Hi, I'm Kevin. This is John. We're going to do some body work today. Now, the way I start with people is I test for general tightness. I'm literally just checking side by side. Left side, body seems to move fine. Right side, a little more restricted. So I'm just going to try and go down the right side of his body and find a point that this restriction is speaking to. Fascia itself is a globally affecting tissue, and it interacts instantly from the tips of the toes up to the top of the head down to the fingers. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to release any point that may be pulling, that may be causing a choke point, that can be, well, causing a problem. So here, John, I know, has had lots of shoulder dislocations, but I'm not assuming that that's what is going to be our original issue. So I'm literally just rocking his body to see what's the most resistant. Now, this is the most resistant out of everything. I tried the lower body, not much there. Tried a rib, not much there. Shoulder, pretty resistant today. And this varies day to day, minute by minute. And I'm going to check under his body. So right now I'm at the edge of his scapula, and I found a spot that seems a little bit triggered. And I'm going to try and find, now that I've found an anchor point to talk to, I'm literally just going to bounce a gentle fist around until I find an echo in the tissue. And the loudest echo I found was right here on his sternum. So now I'm going to use a twist of my hand to see if I can get the spot on the back of his shoulder to react. There we go. And it does. And that means that somehow in this global tissue of his fascia, these two spots are having a conversation where they've decided that they are the primary issue. Now, this conversation can be neurolymphatic, this can be muscular, this can be anything. But I'm literally just supporting the tissue. We know that I am not breaking the fascia. Fascia takes over 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch to break, so it is not breaking that is happening, but we're literally causing a charge in the piezoelectric, I don't know how that word is said, someone correct me, but charge. So now I did that release, and because I'm constantly working to make the system work better, I didn't check, so I just trusted that this shoulder's already going to be better. And look, it does move better than the few seconds ago. So that fascia release was successful, and I felt that even when I pushed here as my hand was gliding back, I felt a little bit of tug in the fascia around his subscap, and maybe a shoulder cuff, something in there. So I found another trigger. It was a neighbor. I'm just going to talk to that, and I'm going to do my same thing. I'm just going to shake till I find an echo, and again the echo seems closer here, but I'm not going to assume that it's actually a distance related thing. I can find my anchor up here in his shoulder, his most anchored point up in his shoulder, and it be down by his ankle. So I'm going to check left side, right side. And left side does have more echo to it. So I'm going to check the ribs, I'm going to check the collarbone. Doesn't really talk that much. So I went to a lower rib, and there we have something interacting. So I can move this rib pretty well. This one doesn't want to move at the moment. And it's amazing how much that will change moment to moment when you're doing these holds. So to make this make sense, I'm using my hands as a diode, positive, negative, making a shorter pathway for the energies in the body to pass through. Now, that may not make sense, but I'm working with this as a globally functioning system. And we don't have to get caught up with, if tension is in one area of the body, is that where it's from? The reason why I say this is because I can be working on the shoulder or down by the feet, and it can pull anywhere else, much like if you have elastic skin on or in the body, which is what the fascia is. You pull on one spot, and over here is where you may feel it. So even though I find tension in the shoulder, where my diode is helping me resolve the electrostatic tension in the fascia, we're probably working anywhere else, and this is just how we bridge it. Now, when you have static electricity that's a buildup, it literally causes something to become sticky. So if there's a buildup of negative or positive energy in the body, it becomes sticky. And usually, one of these is the best way to figure out where things are sticky. Or a plastic spoon, believe it or not. If you rub a balloon on your hair, that gets static electricity stuck to it because it's a resistor. And it doesn't conduct electricity very well. So you experience your hair pulling towards the balloon or the plastic spoon sticking to the skin when that static electricity is preventing that flow. So this is a gua sha tool shape, but it's actually a terahertz stone, which is silica and quartz. We are made out of silica, yes, and other semiconductive tissue, mineral, and other composites. There we go. And back to his right shoulder. And I'm going to find where this one goes. Now, this method isn't everyone's jam. I get it. But this is something that I've started playing with in the recent past. There we go. That I've found, when we look for the global releases, someone might be complaining about their headache, and I'm working down by their leg and their head releases. So I'm literally just depending on the body's wisdom to show me where I ought to work, and I'm having very little judgment factors get in the way. There we go. Look how much these shoulders move. Now, the left shoulder is the one that's talking again, or at least the left side. So I'm going to check lower body, rib. The rib seems to be stuck more than the shoulder at the moment, but they're pretty close, so they're probably going to be related. So I'm just going to draw a figure 8 with my hands. Sometimes that means they're coming closer together, and sometimes that means they're going apart. But if I draw a figure 8 with my hands, I'm in real time going through every vector of possible infraction on his tissue to see where does his body want to go to release. So I'm just the supporting factor. My hands are the diodes. I'm creating a positive loop. There we go. The body runs on negative energy. There we go. And the nervous system runs on that attention. It goes, oh, that's the thing that I wanted to work on before, but I forgot about it. So if you bring a highlighter to it, the body goes, okay, let's work on that for a minute. And since I'm supporting whatever is holding up the flow,
or possibly even the fact that you didn't have the energy to do it back then, and now you're giving energy to the system to do stuff.
Yep. And I'm not talking about doing energy work in a general sense. This is literally just my kinetic energy that is creating piezoelectric, there we go, functions. If you take a quartz crystal and you squeeze it, you're going to create piezoelectric energy. If you do that, creates electric charge. Same thing happens within the liquid crystals of our body. Water, silica, calcium, magnesium, all of that. There's a electromagnetic communication that is, again, instant. Alright, so here, now I know this is either a gallbladder point or a stomach point that I've found by his knee. I'm not versed enough in acupuncture to be super certain all the time, but knowing the meridians has been very helpful because they are bioelectric lines. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Okay, so now I've checked all the way through, and it seems like his shoulder is the only thing talking at the moment. So my next question is it going to be a rotation thing? I can barely rotate him this way. He's got great rotation this way. So I know. But he just needs a little bit of distraction, not a lot, and a little bit of rotation. Remember, I'm supporting his tissue, not forcing his tissue to move. I'm the facilitator. I am not the doer. There we go. His system is observing, hey, the conditions are optimal to release this kinetic tension that we've built up. It's the off-ramp is pretty good for this car with its brakes at the top of the hill. Before, the off-ramp was dangerous. Now we've got a much more reasonable space to let this flow into. There we go. And now it comes down very nicely. That's what I'm going to show you today. Thank you for your time. Again, my name is Kevin. This is John. We'll be back.
Excellent.
Oh!